Hi, I'm Eleanor Lee and this is my pitch for my FMP. So this is my film Voided. This is like a bit of a mood board I put together for my front piece. So when developing with ideas, I got really stuck at the beginning, and usually I don't tend to get stuck. I usually have like quite a good idea of what I'm going to do. And I thought there was two routes I could either go down. I could go down like a narrative which was more of a conceptual idea and like down someone's sort of experience, or down an idea with like an actual sort of storyline, like what do you call it, more like a comedy or a thriller or something like that. But I decided to go sort of more down the conceptual route, and I'd been told that I was good at, in my last project I told I was good at like making quite emotional pieces through like narration with montages and sort of like cinematic framing and stuff. So I decided to go down that, and I started with the word trauma, but that's quite broad, like quite a broad term, so I like looked down all these different things and I picked sort of two out. I picked out the sort of like having like past parents or like grieving, and then down the idea of growing up with identity problems. And then I sort of put them together and I thought I could have sort of like having identity problems because of the fact that growing up without like a mother figure. If you go to the next slide. And then, so when I went down this route, I then had to look at genre and conventions, and I looked at the film Moonlight, which was a really good film. That film sort of inspired me with a lot of the colour grading and a lot of the framing and a lot of the sort of, like even the narrative of Moonlight sort of linked a bit to what I was wanting to convey. You can see in this frame that I sort of like used this sort of similar colour grading. So these are videos. These are like, this is my research. I started researching the conventions, and I did vox pops around the classroom with my target audience, asking about what type of, like visually, what would look right for a character who is like grieving or like not doing well mentally. I don't know if these are going to play. Do you want to try to play them? This one. That one's going to play. Oh wait. Okay, well that stopped, but is that one going to play? This is just
unconditional as a mother's maternal love for the child.
Well, that's just sort of an example of just like how, so Nico was saying, you can't really hear it, but Nico was saying sort of like being quite unkept, being messy, like the conventions of how he would look as a character and how his environment would look. And then so I incorporated this into my mise en scène. I had a very messy bedroom, I had quite dull lighting, he looked very messy and unkept. It was quite a coincidence because he'd just come back from boarding school anyway, so everything was everywhere when I got there. So everything just worked out quite well in that sense. Then my test shoots. When I was test shooting, it was really important because I think in the past I tend to use quite sort of just like regular and boring framing, like just mid shots, long shots, establishing shots. So I wanted to play around with different shots, and especially when I was researching through different films, I came across a pedestal shot. That'll be in the next slide, but this is narrating through, I saw this in Trainspotting, which I really liked, and some other films. That's sort of just like one of my test shoots with narration in the background.
I hate the smell of the soap. It's so disgusting. It sticks to your hands after you dry your house.
Yeah, it was just, I thought, I'm not sure what that one is. That's test shoots, that's final product, so that's the, yeah. This is the narration one. This is how it ended up in my final.
Boyfriend.
I don't think the clips are playing properly, but and then the top one is my pedestal shot, which I was quite happy with. Oh, you might have to give it a minute. I think it's got like a bit of a beginning. So this was my I'm not sure what's happening, but that was my test shoot. This is what I had in my final product. Yeah, I saw this in a film that I did a lot of research with. I really liked how it, like, sort of, yeah. Next one. So with my characters and who I chose to play them and why, I had Theo and his dad do it for my production. Theo has a lot of sort of background experience in acting, and just the way he looks sort of made a lot of sense for my production. How it went. Filming was really fun. I think I anticipated there to be a lot more issues than there actually was, I think. I thought it was going to be quite complicated, but it wasn't. It was actually really fun. I stuck to the script. The actors were really good and reliable. Yeah, if you go to the next one. Wait, next one. Yeah, so it went really well. I think I had a couple problems. I had Naomi come up to London with me as well, and she would not stop talking. So along all of my clips, I had Naomi in the background laughing and talking, so I had to overlay a lot of different sounds over the back of it, which was very long. I also ended up, some of my footage kept getting damaged, so I had to do it again and again and again, and it did just seem like it was going on forever, but I think at the end I was very happy with it. I didn't really manage to keep some of my planning up to date, so I got a bit lost in that aspect, but from the problems that I thought might happen, didn't happen, but sort of more of the, like, these problems happened. So yeah, thanks.